So, kia ora te whānau. We are at our final panel of the day, and it's a real pleasure to be facilitating this panel, which is all about, I guess, thinking about the way that we connect the things that have gone on to the work that is still to be done. And so, ko Nadia ho, no parahitini me airani o Putipina, and I've been lucky enough, I guess, I was born in 1989, so I didn't live through the 80s. I had a moment in the 80s, but I've been lucky enough and blessed enough and humbled to have been trained politically by a lot of people who were shaped by not just the 80s, but also the political movements of the 60s and 70s. And although there was a lot of destruction, there was a lot of harm, a lot of corporate terrorism, a lot of political violence that happened during that time, there was a lot of also inspirational struggle that happened during that time. So I was lucky enough to work alongside people who, although they experienced some defeat, they were not defeated in their politics. And so what we're going to do today is each of our panellists is just going to make a bit of an offering, share something from their perspective, and then we're hoping just to have a little bit of a conversation between the panel and with all of us here about kind of where to next. So,
it's the final word.
So what we're going to do is we're going to kick into things now, and the thing that I want us to think about a little bit as we're here, we often, I think, one of the things that's so great about what the Labour History Project is doing is preserving a history of things that happen in Aotearoa. I think today in the union movement, a lot of people are really curious about what's happening in Aussie, what's happening in, the USA or whatever. But actually, we're lucky, we have an incredible history here. And the amazing thing about being in Aotearoa, we have a particular, unique way of doing things. Actually, the Aussies and the Americans could learn a little bit from us and what we've done. And the great thing about being in a small country where we rely so heavily on our relationships is that you can pull together people who've played a key role in our history in one room. And that is the unique opportunity we have in front of us today. So with us, I'm going to kick us off with Keepa. I don't think he needs much of an introduction. He's the CTU Māori Vice President since 2011, and he's also the kai whakahaere of First Union. First Union is awesome. Sid has been a union member since he entered work, and has been involved in lots of campaigns with Māori workers, and obviously workers in general. He's also played a key role in getting the Runanga involved in his union and the CTU. So let's give Sid a really warm welcome.
Thanks for everything. As you know, I'm still Keepa, and I've been introduced by this young woman here. But anyway, just give you a little bit of my history. I worked on the floor for 33 years as a worker. I've been in quite a few unions. I've been in drivers, wooden timber workers union, pulp and paper workers union. In Aussie I was in the BLF, Builders and Labourers Federation. I also worked on Sydney Opera House, and our great secretary here was a guy called Monica, who led Greek band at the time when I was there. So I learned quite a bit from that union history. Just a little bit of background on where I was born. I was born in Pakatani, in a place called Piripai, and there would be about 15 families that lived there, and we used to share with our kumara, our kamukamu, community can just come and help themselves. So I guess that was sort of one of the establishments of my potato altogether. So what I put up bringing, there was 10 of us. We used to have to, we weren't allowed to feed our pigs with anything from the table. We had to feed them veggies, and we used to grow maize for the chooks. So, that's how my dad and mum saw, it was a lot more healthier than this. But anyway, we all had a good upbringing, and that's taught us how to be all together. I've been in a few scouses on the job as a union delegate. Some of the stuff they talked about today was involved in that monetary-wise. I used to be president of our branch in Penrose, Forest Products, before they sold us to Fletcher's. So we weren't involved in some of those strikes. It was Fletcher's that brought us. But it was strange because if you had been there, worked there for 10 years, New Zealand Forest Products gave you 10 shares for nothing. And it was strange, but it was good too. Because when the board had the AGMs at Smythe House, which was just across the road from us, we'd march over there, and we'd go to their meeting, and we used to disrupt the hell out of it, especially when we were going through some issues, They stopped doing that for us products after that, giving everybody 10 free shares. But it helped us to get some issues resolved. So it was those days, everybody was in the union. And I remember when they brought in the employment contracts, there was one fella out of 500 of us that worked at Penrose. There was one fella that wanted to take up the employment, become on the individual employment. He lasted there 2 weeks. He was gone after that. Not dead. So had some good comrades there, and one of the things that when because the Timber Workers Union was led by sort of, should I call it, conservative union leaders, and they come and amalgamated with the pulp and paper, which became the wood industry. But prior to us amalgamating with the Timber Workers, we already had a Brunner, and we also, we had formal there at that time. Because there was hardly, as you heard earlier, a woman was working on the floor there. But when they allowed them in, when the woman, equal rights and that, the company hired some, and we supported them. We supported those. They were bloody good workers too. And they wouldn't shoot. They used to argue with them. But that's being in the few strikes, when we amalgamated with the NDU, Woodies and us and the NDU, we amalgamated together. And the thing is about it, we carried what we had, the structures in the army, like the Runa and the formal, into the NDU. And Bill Anderson really acknowledged that. Because, Billy got arrested at Takaparapai at Bastion Point. They put the green band on. We marched, we went and supported anything that was Māori our union, like even the Foreshore Seabed. We marched with the marches, then with our union flags and everything else, so the bridge and that. And we noticed that some unions weren't there because they were affiliated to the Labour Party. he was some of the organisers marching with us. So that sort of, got it really going. And then when we, the CTU, it wasn't under Keepa Douglas, but it started under more so under Ross Wilson and then Halifax. But I remember when we gave our first report to the Biennial Conference, some of those union secretaries walked out because they said, oh, this is all marriage stuff. Doesn't interest us. I can tell you their names by they walked out of our conference. It's really upset me, but you've got to sit there and listen to their stuff, but they're not going to listen to what's affecting Māori in those, in a lot of those areas. And let's stick together and see what we can do about it. But yeah, that really got off my nose. But anyway, at the moment it's all running quite good. We've got equal structures between the NAC and everything. So we got there in the end. And when we amalgamated with the NU, that's when we had Runanga Fumo and the Women's Committee came in. The LBGT, we had all those committees all part of our union that recognise everybody. You've got to recognise people's differences and don't, and acknowledge them and get together and do stuff. I've got arrested a few times on a few pickets. Me and Bill got arrested one time. We had a picket at Carlisle Harbour at Mangadil. And the police were there. And me and Bill said, because we want to go in there to see if the people that worked in the union were actually the people, the scabs working on the floor. So we walked in. We just walked straight in, and the cops arrested us, took us, through all this stuff. And we took them to court, and we were right. We could do that. We could go in there and identify those people that were working in there while our members, if they actually worked there. If they actually were there the day that they went on strike, that's the law. So that became quite a big issue with some of the companies, But the thing is, what I feel is from when I remember, we had the award system, how different it is from then to what it is like now when we brought in the Employment Contracts Act, and how devastating it's been on workers. We're just going up with minimum wage down to $20.50. Bloody hell, we used to get that over 20 years ago on both sides. And they're just getting it down. But nothing else is staying down, like house prices and kai and all that. They're actually all going up. So we've got a lot of work to do. And the thing is, I feel that we've got to educate a lot of our young people. Because those ones I really feel sorry for. The younger people that are coming through today. I know my uncle that started work or joined the union straight away. She joined the union and now she's getting her work in the end through the union. And now she's getting her workmates to join the union as well. But there's something I have to do with have to change the law so we can get back to the way it was in the old days. So anyway, that's my kōrero. Tēnā kōrero mō tēnei wā, mō reira tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.